You look into my business now after 20 years of running, multiple companies, Fit Body Boot Camp, Truly Supplements, coaching businesses, etc. And it's like, man, that guy catches lightning in a bottle. That's what someone said about me recently. What y'all probably don't realize is during that come up, like from zero to my first couple $1 million a year, I made some big mistakes. So these are mistakes, like I said, that really slow down the growth of a business, and in some cases will actually put a business under. So big mistake number one that I made often in the beginning of my business, and it was getting a business partner. When someone is a business partner, you better make sure that they bring a very different set of skills and values to the partnership. Because if they don't share your core values, if they don't bring in new skills that you don't have, or they don't bring in money, which is an accelerant for business, then what you really have is two people who end up fighting because they don't share core values, they don't share work ethics, you don't have a similar way of leading your people, right? So I'm telling you right now, you got to have a rule for getting business partners on board. And here's my rule of getting business partners. One, you got to know who your potential business partner is. You got to have known them for at least 12 months. Like, I believe that you got to know these people for at least 4 seasons of life, right? 12 months. Number two, in addition to liking them as a person, maybe they're fun to hang out with, fun to work out with, fun to go and have dinner and watch a comedy show with. But do they share your same work ethic? Do they have the same vision as you in terms of where the business is going to go? Do they have the same level of urgency? And the third thing is that they bring in a different set of experiences or value to the company, to the business, than I bring. Because if they bring in everything that I bring, what's the point of the business partnership, right? So thing number two that I really screwed up on, which is too much focus on the product, not enough focus on marketing and sales. When you spend all this time focusing on improving the product and constantly doing it over and over again, trying to look for perfection, and you don't spend time actually putting out content, building affiliates, getting marketing systems dialed in, tightening up your sales process and follow-up process and referral generation process, then what you have is a really great product, but you never took time to actually drive traffic, to market, get leads, convert those leads into paying clients and customers. And early on, I see a lot of entrepreneurs do this. They spend so much time in developing their logo and developing the product, rewriting it, reshooting the content, reformulating the thing, whatever it is, remaking the widget. And it's like, dude, are you ever going to put this thing to market? Because imagine this, if you spent the same amount of effort and energy on marketing this thing, putting content out for it, getting affiliates to promote it, and figuring out a sales process that converts people into paying clients and customers, the customers will give you the feedback that you're looking for, and you'll know exactly what areas of that product that you can improve, right? So again, wasting too much time, focusing too much time on product development and not enough time on sales and marketing is the kiss of death for a business. Number three, not raising money, right? And going into personal debt. My family had no backup money. If the poop hit the fan, like that was it. I didn't have like 2, 3, 4 months of just in case money. Like, I was running a very thin bank account. My credit cards were maxed out in the beginning phases of being an entrepreneur. And that's a scary thing, because if you're married, if you have a family, if you have kids, if you have a home, if you have all these things going on, then your family feels this like fear of what if things don't work out, right? And it will start truly causing a lot of problems in your relationship. And it will start creating enough stress where you're like, what the fuck am I doing? And now you're starting to doubt yourself and question yourself. And I remember many a times, man, doubting and questioning myself, thinking, why did I max out credit cards? Why did I go in such a deep debt, right? That I felt like I was having to dig myself out of a massive deficit. What I should have done is maybe put 1/3 of the money out of my pocket and raised capital for the other 2/3, right? So fourth thing is not valuing leaderships. And I got to tell you, I believed early on that because it says CEO on the corporate paperwork, I'm the leader. And I guess technically you are. Like, by definition, the CEO is the leader of the company. However, leadership is more than just positional authority. There's such thing as moral authority. And that means being a great visionary, knowing what your company's core values are, being an awesome communicator, being able to delegate to your team, being able to problem solve with your team, making sure that your team shares the same vision that you do, being able to have conversations without hiding from those conversations or being passive aggressive. And so understand that as a leader, it's not you who does all the firing and hiring. Some of your best employees will end up firing you by realizing that you're not a good communicator, that you're passive aggressive, that you don't have a clear vision of where your company's headed, and you haven't set expectations for them, and so they feel like they're just spinning their wheels and that you're always pissed off at them. And ultimately they go, you know what, dude, I'm gonna fire you by quitting and going to work for someone else who will treat me better. And that's kind of a sucky thing for you because you end up stuck with the shittiest of employees. And who wants that in the process of building a business, right? Hey guys, quick interruption to the Bedros Keuilian show. I want to remind you about the Keuilian Wellness Shot. I created the Keuilian Wellness Shot because I wanted a product that was going to help you boost your immune system and fight off inflammation in your gut, in your joints, in your body so that you are healthy, you don't get sick, and you live an awesome life. Keuilian Wellness Shots have these 9 ingredients that are going to absolutely help fight off inflammation and boost your immune system. Vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, ginger, turmeric, echinacea, B12, cayenne pepper, and black pepper. And every single packet is checked for heavy metals because our ingredients are top quality and we use nothing but top quality because we cut no corners. So you can use my name, Bedros, at Keuilian.com and get 50% off your Keuilian Tribe subscription. You not only get 50% off your first order, you also get free shipping. You get a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee so that if you don't like the product for some reason, which we have yet to meet anyone who don't like the product, we will give you your money back, no questions asked, and we will shake hands and part ways as friends. And of course, $1 of every order goes to Shriner Children's Hospital, which is a hospital system that I've been helping and supporting for over 12 years. They provide medical procedures, medical services, surgeries to children whose families can't afford these procedures. So go to Keuilian.com, use code word Bedros, join the Keuilian Tribe. You get 50% off your first order and then 20% off your recurring monthly orders after that. Back to the show. So, number 5, borrow money, but only if you know what you're going to do with it. The moment you borrow money, the time starts ticking. You better know what you're doing with that money because if you don't, you're paying them interest back. Time is ticking and you don't know what to do with that money. So you end up maybe getting a corporate office. You end up developing a better logo, right? You end up doing these things that aren't necessarily generating sales and getting new customers into the business. You'd be surprised how quickly a year, 2 years, 3 years go by and you're like, holy fuck, I owe the balloon payment back to these people and I don't have the money because I took the money from them. And since I had money sitting in a bank account, but I had no plan or specific purpose for this money, I ended up just squandering it by creating hats and shirts and fucking a new logo and a bigger corporate office and painting the walls and doing all, wrapping my car, thinking you're doing stuff, but you're really not. So every time you borrow a penny from someone, before you even take that penny, before the ink dries on that agreement, you better know exactly how this money is going to get deployed, that every dollar that they gave you is going to bring back at least another dollar. Otherwise, don't borrow the money. Number 6 is a really big mistake we made here early on at the corporate office because, software. We live in a time where technology is just fucking necessary, right? And at the end of the day, whether it's HubSpot or Salesforce or whatever it is that you're buying, you'll find yourself investing in a lot of software platforms that are supposed to produce an outcome, but you didn't really link them together well, or you made a very quick decision without really sniffing out if that software platform can do what you want it to do. And now you're in a 1 year, 2 year, 3 year contract with a software company for thousands of dollars per month sometimes. And so buy software only after you know what it does. You have seen other people doing it. You can confirm, because at the end of the day, by the way, the software sales reps, their job is to sell you the software. Like it is you and your team's job to figure out, is this software going to do what you say it did? Is it worth it for me? Is it going to integrate well in my company? Is it something that other people in my industry use? Can I see them? Can I talk to them? Can I get some kind of validation from them? Only then would you invest in that software. I've probably lost, I'm not kidding, over the last decade, probably a couple $1 million in useless software purchases. And it's a big lesson for me to learn and to pass along to you. All right, mistake number 7, no KPIs. KPIs stand for key performance indicators. And so if you're my employee, you're my team member, and you're like, hey, Bedros, what's my job? I'm like, your job is to run Facebook ads for us, right? You just run Facebook ads and that's it, nothing else. You're like, okay, cool. I go, yeah, here's your budget, $20,000 a month to run Facebook ads to this page. And so understand that if you don't have KPIs in place for any of your people, then people don't know what winning looks like. And therefore you as a leader cannot get upset at them. So again, not setting key performance indicators for my employees early on ended up costing me a lot of money because they thought they were doing their job, but I felt like they weren't, but I had no measurable tool to measure them against. Number 8, hiring and keeping shitty employees. I would hire people, and this happens, by the way, like it's not your fault for hiring people who were not a good fit. It is your fault for keeping them. What ends up happening is you had a good employee and they were meeting their KPIs, right? And getting things done. And all of a sudden they had a life ambush, a life crisis. They try as you might, you tried to help them. You weren't able to help them. Now they're in a position where they're just sabotaging you, your business, themselves, and you're keeping them because you feel bad for them. You don't want to fire them. You don't want to be the bad guy. And what's happening is all your other great employees see that you're keeping this shitbag on board and they go, well, if Bedros is going to lower his standards and accept this guy's mediocrity as the standard, well, I guess we can lower our workload as well and get mediocre as well. So if you hire or you keep shitty employees, it will cost you time, money, energy, and most of all, your reputation. All right, number 9, not getting an assistant soon enough. This is the number 1 mistake I see in entrepreneurs who are making $500,000 a year or more. If you don't have an assistant at that point, you're probably doing work that you could be paying someone $18 to $22 an hour to do. Now, if you value your time at $18 to $22, right? Fine, I suppose. But think about how much trivial work you're doing that you could pay someone else to do for $18 to $22, and they would gladly do it, which would free up more of your time to do these $10,000 an hour work that you could do, right? And so oftentimes you will end up slowing down the growth of your business, literally retarding the growth of your business because you chose to be cheap or ignorant and not hire an assistant soon enough. I've never seen a single entrepreneur, I'm going to go on record and say this, I've never seen or heard of a single entrepreneur that said, man, I hired an assistant too early on in my career and I screwed up. I always hear I didn't hire an assistant soon enough and it cost me time, money, energy, all of it, right? And then number 10, this is for companies that are really growing. You're doing, let's say, 7 figures, multiple 7 figures. You're starting to get to 8 figures. You got to get a second in command, an operator. 9 out of 10 times, the founders should not be the CEOs or VPs or head of operations. Most founders are great visionaries and they're great creatives and we're action takers, but your operators, who could either be director of operations, VP, or CEO, they will run the business even better than you can. So think about this. If you don't hire an operator and you're still in the weeds and you're like, well, I don't have the money to hire an operator. I'm telling you, if you can tighten the belt and maybe raise some capital or figure out a creative way to bring an operator on board, you will buy back more of your time to end up creating more money like in the next few months to come. So if you're able to avoid these 10 mistakes that I've made and many of my coaching clients have made early on in their businesses, and we've been able to break through all these things, guys, I'm telling you, you will have such a successful business with less friction, less frustration, less contraction, right? Like think about how many times your business has expanded, and then collapsed on itself. That's contraction. And the reason that happens is because you don't have the right people or the right processes in place. And most of everything we talked about here really distilled down to people and processes. Because I'm going to assume that you have a great product. That means you must have a shitty process or shitty people who can't deploy the processes, and therefore the business continues to contract on itself.